Guten Morgen everyone! Today I am facing a challenge to bake a bread in just 1 minute. Is it possible? I don't know, but for that we first need to know how bread works. The basic ingredients for a bread are flour, water, salt, and some leavening agent, like for example yeast. We mix all the ingredients, knead, proof, bake, and sometime later we'll end up with this beautiful loaf of bread. But what really happens in the process? To sum it up in 2 steps, what happens when we knead is that we develop the gluten network, something key in the structure of the bread. This is what gives it its shape, the shape of a bread. It would be like the skeleton, and without it, the bread would be flat. And the second thing is a proofing, or leavening, in which the yeast feed on the starches in the flour, which are basically sugars, and with that they make gases and other things, which end up being those little bubbles that we call crumb. And they also contribute a lot of flavor to the bread. And speaking of that, precisely what gives the bread its flavor is time. Something that in this challenge today I am not going to have. I'm going to show you what is the ideal bread for me. A bread with all the time in the world. What I have here is Sourdough Starter, which is an old and artisan yeast. It is perfect for baking bread because it gives it a lot of flavor. But it has one disadvantage. It is really ridiculously slow. But since we have all the time in the world, I am going to use it. If you still don't know what Sourdough Starter is, here in my channel you have a lot of videos about that. But if you want to go deeper and learn more about sourdough, I recommend you my Sourdough Bread Masterclass, in which you learn how to make a sourdough starter from scratch and bake your own sourdough bread. What are you waiting for? Just click the link in the description. In a bowl we put the bread flour. Now we add the whole wheat flour, the sourdough starter really active, and finally the water. And now with the Danish whisk we start mixing. The idea is to make a dough and hydrate all the flour. Okay, done. It's been an hour, but we have all the time in the world. And as you could see, the gluten network is already developed. So now I will add the last ingredient, the salt. And now we give the final touch. And that is all. Now I let it dough here to proof slowly till it doubles in size for around 4 hours. And take a look at this. The dough has already risen, it has doubled in size, and it's ready to be shaped. We put a little flour on the counter, and time to unmold the dough. Take a look at all the bubbles that it has. It has done an excellent fermentation. All that air is going to be the crumb. Now I take one of the sides and fold it into itself, and I do the same with the other side. Now rolling it in, final adjustment on the other side too, a little bit of flour, and into the baneton. Bread shaped, but this is still not the end. We still have to cold ferment this bread until tomorrow. Yes, for around 16 hours, so I'll see you. Guten Morgen everyone. Take a look at the bread. It's ready to be baked. I'll put some flour on the peel and on the bread too, and ready to unmold it. Now with the lamb, I'll score it. Perfect. And now it goes straight to the preheated oven at 482 degrees Fahrenheit for around 40 minutes. May the gluten be with you. Wow, I present to you my ideal bread, done with all the time in the world. What? Yes, one day. Now is the moment of the truth. See how this bread finally turned out. It looks beautiful. And this that I'm holding in my hands is just flour, water, and salt. And a lot of time. Yes, quite a lot of time. So let's try it. So this is one of my favorite kind of bread. It's tasty, it's crunchy, it's humid, and it has this little acidity that comes from the sourdough starter. So if you have time, then this is your kind of bread. But now we're going to do it faster. Time to move to the next level. Now we're going to bake a bread in less time. How much time do I have? Oh, Just 1 hour. Okay, so if we have only 1 hour, then this artisan yeast is not going to work. Enter in the game now the fresh yeast. In case you don't have it, you could use instant yeast. This yeast, also known as commercial yeast, is just one fungus, one yeast, known as Saccharomyces cerevisiae, which is the fastest yeast in the world. Yes, it's a Formula 1 of the yeasts, and it's the one that is going to help us in this new mission. If we go at a time, what about the flavor? Yes, that is a really good question. But what we're going to do is to enrich the dough. That means to give flavor to the dough. And we're going to do it by adding some butter, eggs, milk, and sugar. So the taste that we are losing because we are doing it faster, we are going to recover it by using these ingredients. So from this very moment, we just have 1 hour to finish the bread. Let's go. In the mixer bowl, we add the flour. Now the sugar, salt, yeast, egg whites. Let's go. Milk and water. And now that we have some kind of dough, we add slowly the butter. Okay, dough ready. It's been 10 minutes.
But you have no watch.
Let's go, go. We're going to divide and shape into balls of 80 grams each. And now we take each ball and stretch it. Now we roll it into itself. I'll put it on this baguette tray, which is already oiled. I give them some moist and we're done. So it took me 5 minutes to shape the bread. That means that we've used 15 minutes by the moment. Time to let them proof. To gain some time, I'm going to use this oven as a proofer. So I hope I can do it on time. Here's the bread fully proofed and ready to be baked. We have exactly 15 minutes to accomplish it. Let's do it. And here in my hand, I have the 1 hour soft bun, which is still a little bit warm, and I want you to see how fluffy and sexy it is. We have achieved to make a soft and spongy bun in 1 hour. But what about the taste? I have to admit that this 1 hour bun is a hit. It's really spongy, tender, soft, and really tasteful. It's a little bit sweet. So bake it at home and tell me what you think about this recipe. Mission accomplished. Now moving on to 1 minute bread. But I think, well, I really know that using yeast in a 1 minute bread, it's not going to happen. So we need a new leavening agent. The Adventures of the Leavening Agent, soon in your YouTube favorite channel. I present to you the world-known baking powder. The baking powder has nothing to do with the yeast that we've been using till now. It is going to be just a chemical reaction. When we mix it with the water of a dough and give it some heat, it is going to make this chemical reaction, which will end up with a spongy crumb. Okay, all that about the chemical reaction and blah blah blah. But what about the taste? Who's this guy? Okay, so what is going to give the taste to the dough is this yogurt. Since we only have 1 minute to make this bread, and the ingredients are flour, salt, water, baking powder, and the taste is coming from this jar. To accomplish this 1 minute bread challenge, I am going to do a flat bread. I will do it like this. In a bowl, we put 4 spoons of flour, pinch of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, a big spoon of yogurt, and 4 spoons of water. Okay, I have 40 seconds left to mix this dough. Now we mix everything, looking for a creamy texture. Yes, looking good. It's done. I did it. Now it's time to bake, but I'm going to do it on this pan. On a preheated pan at low heat, we add some butter. As soon as it melts, we pour the mix. And now with the spatula, we stretch it all over the pan. Perfect, looking good. And to give it some extra taste, I'm going to add all these ingredients. All right, time to fold it. And it's done. So finally we did it, the 1 minute bread and a few things more. So now it's time to try it. And always the best part of the video, tasting. It's incredible, I can't believe it that we did it in just 1 minute. Please do this recipe at home and tell me what you think about it. No, it's really tasty, but what about all the other breads? Are we going to do something? Okay, we're going to do something. But first, I wanted to know which bread is the one that you like the most. For example, the sourdough bread that took me 1 day to bake it, then a little bit shorter the time, 1 hour bread, and finally the 1 minute flat bread. So I'll read in comments, let me know which one is the best for you. And now, let's continue with the B-roll. I hope you have enjoyed this video. And if you want to learn more about sourdough bread and sourdough starter, I encourage you to check the link on the description. And remember, this masterclass was specially designed for you.